needs to be.
And it's nothing to do with the title or name.
Do comments or policies?
No, it's a little smaller.
There is no comma after policy?
No, yeah, so it's somewhere in the numbers.
Think about the house rule.
Yeah, so this is an example of a house rule. Yeah, okay, so Blue Book, I think it's rule 1.3. Sorry, 3.2. Towards the end, kind of it's the last paragraph, it says, when citing material that spans more than one page, give the inclusive page number separated by an end dash or a hyphen. So the Blue Book gives you an option. We have a house rule that says you have to use an end dash. So that's kind of why we have house rules, because the Blue Book sometimes gives you options. So for this Blue Book exam, that is one of the rules you'll have to follow. Okay, so you found that in there. How do you explain what you do? You can't make comments in the footnotes. So the way you show your transcribe your changes here is you actually have to go back up. Sorry about this. You have to go back up to the text and re-edit footnote 50. So you go back up, find footnote 50, and you highlight that, and insert a comment on the footnote. And that's what you'll go through and cite the rules and the changes that you make. So like rule 3.2 or house rule 5 or something like that, end dash. So that's the only thing that's different, because Microsoft Word doesn't allow you to make highlights and track changes in the footnotes. So.
Really, for above the line, you use the Blue Book, but didn't you say that you use the Chicago or the Red Book for above the line?
Yep. So just, yeah, you can decide which one you want to use. I mean, you could probably use both of them, but just make sure you make it really clear which one you're using.
But for the ellipses specific, so if there is a rule that's in the Blue Book and or in one of the grammar manuals, the Blue Book trumps. So that's why he did the ellipses per the Blue Book. I know that that's confusing, but.
Yeah, that's kind of why I did it too. It's because, but that's pretty much, I think, the only rule that I can think of is Rule 5 that deals with quotations. Can you guys think of any other?
Where the Blue Book trumps.
There's a bunch that conflict on capitalization too, Rule 8. But there aren't that many. Just check your Blue Book first.
Yeah.
If it's not there, go to one of the other manuals. You don't need to distinguish. You don't need to look at both CMS and the Red Book, though. Just choose one.
Usually, if you see something wrong with the quotation, it's just use automatic, like quotes. Okay, so above the line, highlight the sentence. Below the line, highlight the footnote that you worked on. Yeah.
Straight ignorance question. Like, I know how the Blue Book was something, especially with law review, will have like the mini all caps. You know what I'm talking about?
The large and small cap?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are those also being implemented into this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is the Blue Book.
Yeah. Actually, I can go through one here. I think I made those. So I'll go through a correction down here just to kind of. Okay, so if you go to, let's see, Rule Blue Book 16.1. It's an example of what you guys caught with a lot of abbreviated publication. So if I were to highlight this and correct it, you would cite something like 16.1. You got to find in there on the front page, it talks about capitalizations and large and small caps. So you would highlight it, change the abbreviation. You guys know how to make large and small caps changes? Those of you on Macs. Yeah. So you change that, go up into the footnote and type in why you did that. That's pretty much it. Does have any questions? Yeah.
So if we can't find the rule and we just don't put any cite of the rule, we'll still get the 1 point if we get it right?
If you don't, if you make a correct change but don't cite the rule,
Yeah, we just get a blank?
Yes, yes. You get 1 point for the correction, 1 point for the rule.
Okay.
and then if you make a correction that is wrong, that's also you lose points there.
Yeah.
For example, though, the University of Pennsylvania, I think that's Pennsylvania, right? Law review, like that has 4 points available essentially because you have to take and make it small caps, and then you also have to correctly abbreviate it. Then you go up into your footnote, make the point that you're changing it per the table in the back of the blue book, and then you're also changing it per the small caps rule 16.1, I think you just said. So
Yeah.
that's like worth 4 points right there, if you got it all right.
So yeah, basically you would, as far as changes, you have the comma, the abbreviations, the small cap, or the large and small caps, the title. So that's three changes that you would be making. And then you would have the one citation for large and small caps, and then the table citation for table 13 citations for abbreviations. So you actually have, sometimes you'll have multiple rule citations for a single item, because it comes from different parts. I remember last year it seemed like really scary when I was listening, but it's basically if you get the structure of the blue book, you kind of have it, kind of know where to go, kind of initially, like Rule 10 covers cases, so all other statutes. It shouldn't be too difficult. It's just going to take time looking for the little stuff like italicized comments. Yeah.
As you say, one of these little issues of stress, I'm going to bring this up. What about in instances where there is discretion on the editor to choose one or the other? Like you said with the dash rule, even though we have the house rule, take away the house rule and you still have a discretionary choice. Should we list that within our explanation to pick one? Why? Where do we draw the line where we stop?
So it's going to be a better question for Jack.
Yeah, so we eliminated almost all of the house rules so that there would only be 3 instances where it might conflict. We'll only give you credit for the house rule on those 3 particular issues. It's literally 2 different versions of a dash and 1 version of an internet site.
Well, no, I get that. I think you're missing what I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
take the house rule, like take the
Okay, a
dash out of
different-
the example. Like, I'm just using that as the only one I go off the top of my head. How the blue book gives you the choice from A or B.
Oh,
If we,
so if there's no house rule.
right,
Okay. Usually, I think with the ones that we have, there's probably not going to be a lot of those. I'm not.
We pretty much designed all the mistakes to fall within one subsection
Okay.
clearly or not. If you find there are several areas where there are multiple blue book rules that you can make a correction with, and as long as you explain which one you used in the comment, we'll give you credit for that one, even if it's not the one we imagined when we wrote the exam.
okay.
Yeah, so there shouldn't be areas where you'll have to like decide which one is like. There shouldn't be any boards that you have to face, and there's only 3 house rules, so it's not that much. And those are posted on the front page.
Something that's really important to remember is a lot of the time it's human nature, right? So we just go to look at the example and then we're just going to draft our citation per the example. Make sure you're reading the text of the statute because there's going to be really important information in there. Don't just look at the example that the Blue Book gives you, read the actual text of the rule.
This is exactly what you get to do next year every week. So
Yay.
it's
Yeah, I don't really have any more, so unless you guys have any more questions.
You want to show them how to do an
And dash? Okay. So again, this is gonna be only for Macs. Sorry about that.
It's in PCs, it's just insert symbol, same sort of thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so on a Mac, I actually didn't know this last year, figured this out this year. If you hit, I believe it's Control Option hyphen,
I think it's just option.
oh, sorry, Option hyphen, you'll get the M dash. It's just like a little slightly longer. And for M dashes, the longer ones, the ones you do like in grammar, like in between sentences up top on a Mac, and I think it's the same on a Word, is you do 2 hyphens, and then hit a space afterwards, and it'll correct it. So that's an M dash, and the N dash is Option hyphen.
You can also do insert symbol and go to advanced symbol. There's a couple ways to do it. M dash and N dash.
Yes. M and N.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else? Is that pretty clear as far as highlighting, adding comments? Okay.
See the screen number 1.
You guys have a question?
Well, so I have the M dash and the N dash.
Yes.
M dash is
M is longer, N is the shortest.
the long.
EN, as in name.
EN as in short.
Yeah. Well, that's what you use for spans of pictures.
Those-
my life.
Text me.
And
Once they
Oh,
figure
yeah.
it out, just stop.
M dash
What
is
time do you usually do?
kind of like
Figure it out.
times.
Right now? Do you want to see right now?
Don't worry about it. I don't think we have any. We have any M dashes in text. Jack?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any M dashes in text?
I don't think so.
I think so. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're taking over now, right? Yeah.
I understand why you.
Parentheses or-
Yeah.